It's gonna begin. If you guys stuck around to watch all of the previous video, God bless you, because that was a long and painful video. I was expecting to start, tattooing within like 30 minutes of unboxing everything, but it was an hour and 40 minutes before I got to this point. So I just stopped the camera and started again. The only difference is I have a much better transfer now. The first time I tried transferring, I used hand sanitizer gel, and it really didn't transfer anything. Transferred like 3% of it. And then I used clear deodorant gel, and it worked a lot better. So now, because these are so thin, I have a piece of cardboard for some cushion, and I have a sheet of construction paper so that I don't feel this corrugated design from the cardboard, up and through here. I want a nice smooth touch. But that's fine, all the details, the power supply, the handle, where I got it from, the whole adjustment and assembly of all this stuff, and choosing the right length bar and adjusting the tension on the pulley. All this stuff I did in my previous video, so I'm not going to go over that. If you guys missed that, you can check that out, catch you up to speed. But what we're going to do right now, we're just going to cut to the chase. And I haven't tattooed in 10 years, and I've never used these rotary tattoo machines that are out today. So I'm going to be rusty, and there's a lot of things that I'm going to learn. This is all new to me right now, so. This can still get a little bit quieter than this. You know what? You're gonna put a drop of machine oil on that pulley. There's a small little ticking sound, that little bit of noise that you can hear. That's only because there's not that much tension between the barb and the needle cartridge, because I don't want the needle sticking out too far, because this artificial skin is so thin. It's so thin. I don't want the needle to be getting snagged in it and like puncturing too far through it and going into the cardboard and making everything uncomfortable. So I had to compensate, for that by adjusting the grip. And when the needle goes to a top dead center, all the way at the top, where it's at its highest point, not that there is separation, between the contact with the two, but there's not enough tension, because that cartridge is spring-loaded. There's not enough tension on it to keep pressure on it, so when it goes up and down, it's kind of like it's bouncing a little bit, like there's a little bit of, it loses a little bit of contact, so it makes a tapping sound every time it goes back down. That's not a big deal because we're just practicing, but to be doing this on human skin, the way it's going to be adjusted, it's not going to be making that sound. So I decided 5 volts feels good and it sounds good. So you're going to see what happens at 5 volts. I'm totally new to this right now. I have very little tattoo experience when I was tattooing 10 years ago. I never did it for a living. It was just a hobby. So 5 volts. I feel like I should have put this on this side. I feel like that's what I should have done. Oh, there's no ink splatter. It's not splattering ink anywhere. See what happens. First line. Started a little squiggly, and then I got real straight. That's a nice, long, consistent line, and it's clean. But let's see how much of it actually penetrated into the skin. Let's give that a wipe. Right? Let's see if it's that dense all the way down. Let's see if there's any separation. Either the machine wasn't fast enough, or I moved too fast, or didn't push hard enough. It's gonna check all those parameters. We're gonna see how good or how not good I just did. Well, it's definitely darker at the end, like the last quarter inch of it. And that was where I actually pushed a little bit harder. So you know what? The way my needle is set up with its cartridge, I'm gonna have to ride the cartridge on this, because that's not dark enough. Either maybe I could have went slower, I can see some areas where I pushed harder than others. And I can almost see where this cardboard, where it's corrugated, every high point, I think it's showing through here. Because there's light and dark areas, but it's almost consistent. Especially that they're running this way, so it's like steps every time. I can't really feel it through this, but you know, you're tattooing and you're putting pressure on it, that's a different story. So I want to practice my lines and learn how to get a good, solid, consistent line before I try doing this. And this koi fish, this is just a koi fish to do a koi fish, because my stepson's birthday is coming up at the end of this month, and he wants a koi fish on his chest in the form of some yin-yang configuration with a koi fish and a heart, and he wants it on his left pectoral, which is above the heart. So I got to master practicing before I take this to someone's skin, you know what I mean? So now this cartridge, this is the masked cartridge, and it does a pretty good job collecting ink. It took in ink right away. At 5 volts there wasn't any ink splatter, and it did what it did the way you've seen it. Now this, they recommend to run this Dragonhawk slip rotary tattoo machine between 4 and 6 volts. We're at 5 volts. We can try doing another line at the same speed with the same pressure, but at 6 volts, and see what the consistency looks like. Or I can just go a little bit slower. You know what? Let's keep it like this. Let's go a little bit slower this time. Let's go a little bit slower and see what happens at 5 volts. Because this seems kind of slow, honestly. No ink splatter. See? There's just a little drop here that's running down. Just get that drop out of the way. Let's do another line. All right, I pushed a lot harder this time, and somewhere in the middle of doing this line, I started writing the cartridge. I was just straight up, right up against it. So the first half was the same amount of pressure. I was just going slow, and then halfway through, I increased the pressure. I just had the cartridge directly on the skin, going the same speed. So that looks a lot nicer. IMO, MICKEYMOUSC. MIOOPINIO in the opinion. Wow, you can tattoo and spell. That looks a lot better. I'm like wiping it really good. If I'm gonna wipe off any ink from the actual line, I'm gonna do it now. The darkest this line can possibly be is its lightest. Because if it's gonna fade or get lighter, it needs to do it now. And I can see that this corrugated stuff on the cardboard does show through. You can even see it when I wipe it. And I think it's affecting how I tattoo. Well, either way, the second line was better than the first. That's what matters. Now, let's increase the voltage. We're going to increase the voltage. We're going to go slow like we did the second time, and I'm also going to ride the cartridge. That should give me an even better line. The information in this video is also good and important because professionals make everything look easy, and anybody can think, well, hey, if it's that easy, you can just buy what he's got and do what he did and get the result he got. That may or may not be true. This is what it's really like. This is what 6 volts looks and sounds like. The fact that this handle is so heavy, it weighs like a pound, but it's 10 ounces. I think it weighs more, but it really absorbs a lot of the vibration that you get from this, which is still nothing compared to what a coil tattoo machine does. There's another machine to this. The cousin to this machine is called the Dragonhawk Falcon. This one's the slip, but there's one that's almost identical, and it's called the Falcon. And instead of having two pulleys, like you see here, right, two pulleys with rubber bands on it, it's got just one pulley only that's on the motor, but it's got an arm on it. It's got like a curved lever like this, and the lever goes up and down really quick. Like one end is on a bearing, and the other end, it connects to the pulley where the motor is, and the barb goes right onto it. And it's even quieter. The noise that this one makes is the pulley sliding left and right because of the rotation. This going up and down, the needle kind of goes sideways as it goes around. So that's the sound you're getting. The other one doesn't do that because the needle doesn't go side to side as it goes up and down. It only goes up and down because of its design. And I kind of like it. I'm interested in it enough to give it a shot. But there's also other machines. There's other machines that I want to try as well. Am I getting any ink splatter? Nope. I'm at 6 volts, no ink splatter. So let's give this line a shot. No, I'm not gonna be able to slide like that. Move my hand. Let's go. I did my best to keep a steady speed, but it's not easy wearing a rubber glove and trying to slide on the rubber mat. It's not gonna go well. But the line is there. The line is there. Ooh, she dark. That's a dark line. And as a matter of fact, I didn't smear that much ink. It's like almost all the ink I laid down stayed in there. But when I wipe this, I'm pulling some of it out. You can see that I'm getting some of that out. What do you think? It would also help if I didn't have the texture of this cardboard. I think that would also help. Because the times that the needle goes down in between these, I can feel it. It's a lot softer. And when I go over these corrugated areas, I feel more pressure. And that's what I think is giving this line a consistency, why there's light and dark spots going down it. Because I'm not moving perfectly consistent, but I'm definitely not inconsistent to the part to where I move too fast for that short of a distance. That's not the case. This is wood here, so I'm kind of curious. I have this towel here. It's making things different. Let me try some. Well, this is also cardboard, so that's really not. It is. Let's give this a shot. Ooh, this smells good. It's been a long time you don't make any oils. This whole thing smells so good. These oils. Okay, this is a more steady surface. Let's see what we get out of this. What's it gonna be like sliding on this? What's that gonna be like? Okay, do it like that. Okay, let's try another line on a different substrate. Right, I had a lot of pressure towards the end. The last quarter I was pushing really hard. Let's see if that makes an impact on anything. Is it the best line so far? I think it is. The fact that the substrate I just tattooed over this box with this paper here doesn't have the same buoyancy or cushion that we had over the cardboard, so the needle can drive in there more aggressively. There's less vibration with the skin. Is it the best line? It's kind of hard to tell. I think this line right here. Well, neither one of them are consistent. I think the most solid line, the line with the most consistency, this line here is more consistent towards here where I was pushing harder. And this line that we just recently did looks like it's more consistent somewhere around this area here. But I need the whole line to be consistent, you know? I think it has to do with pressure. How far is this needle coming out? And this needle drops. That's how far it's coming out actually from here, because like this. You see it? That's how far the needle comes out. That should be enough. That should be enough for this skin. This needle comes out about as thick as the skin is, so I think it has to do with pressure more than speed. I don't want to run a machine faster than recommended to get the line or consistency I want to get. I want to be able to adapt myself. Speed can be like a last resort. Like I guess I need to put the amperage a little more in. A lot of videos that I see with people doing demos with this rotary machine or any rotary machine, they always run it at higher voltages, like 7 volts, you know, stuff like that. But I'm not going to do that because I see someone do it. If I do it, it's because I've tried lower voltages and I'm still not getting a good enough line. Like what I'm going to do now. Let me try something. Before I go up on voltage, let me do a really slow line. Maybe with more pressure. Let me just try more pressure first. Like I'm just gonna ride the cartridge dead on. Just gonna plow this into it. Okay, that last half, I went really slow, but it's not good to go that slow because you can't get that straight of a line. You're gonna squiggle. You're gonna go kind of sideways and stuff. I can handle going that slow if I'm going around a turn. If I'm doing a bend or a turn or something like that, I can do that. But to do a perfectly straight line, going that slow, I'm gonna have little squiggles in it. So let's see how this cleans up. I went the same speed as I've been going. The only thing I did was I put all the pressure down, all of it. And then at the second half of it, the last end of it, I was going half the speed. I really slowed down a lot. But that can also just cause damage to the skin, you know, if we're treating this like a person, you know. Even for this, it might even just puncture it too much. It might not look well. So I feel like I'm wiping away some of this line. I feel that this shouldn't have had wiped off how it did. That's how I feel. What am I using to wipe this and clean it? It's a mild hand soap and water solution is what I am using. The worst line was the first one. They've only gotten better. The thing is, it's not so much the consistency, it's every once in a while there's a really dark spot. What's that from? Is that from me like pausing, like hesitating real quick, you know? Let me see. Come on. All right. This is the most recent one we did. This one up here. You see how once in a while there's like a nice dark little spot? You see that? It's like there's a dark spot. What's up with that? Let's really zoom in on this. Come on. Come on, man. Dude, come on. Yo, what is wrong with this? God, stupid. Whatever, bro. Just don't understand why it's sketchy like that. Let's do some more. Some more lines on here now. It would be nice if I could slide my hand on something. Slide my hand on one of these. Oh, that works well. Using this to slide. And do another line here, see what we got. Let me do a circle. You know what, let's turn up the volts. Let's do 6.4 volts. .4. Do we get any ink splatter? Nothing yet. No ink splatter. I think you basically get ink splatter with the coils because the inertia of that arm going up and down, it's like smacking the oil. Oil. It's just smacking the ink off of the needle. All right. Just do a line here. The first one was a slow line, the second one was a fast line. Let's see what happens. Let's see how different they are from one another. I can't wait to start tattooing this koi fish, but I don't want to do it and it not look good. So the fast line that I did just looks faded. And the slow line that I did looks good. I think that's the best looking line. But I also did it at 6.4 volts. The small one, I went slow at 6.4. And then the long line next to it, this one here, I went fast, like it just went. And it's not bad. It's got consistency, it's just light. But it doesn't have the breakup like all the other ones have. You see how like they have like these tiny little dark spots and light spots in the line? Like some areas it dropped more ink and some areas it dropped less ink. These last two lines that I did don't have that. And I ran it at 6.4 volts. Look at that. Even this one, the one that I went fast. Let's look at these three lines. The one all the way to the right, the short one that's in the middle, and then the one to the left of that. Let's look at those three lines. The one on the left here is broken up. You see it? It's broken up. The line all the way to the right is not as dark, but it's consistent. You see that? There's no breaking up in it. There's like one little spot right here. There's one little spot where it's got an inconsistency, but the rest of it is good. And the only difference was the speed. You're talking from 6 volts to 6.4 volts. This one, the short one, is also 6.4, but I went slow. I think I went a little bit slower than all the other ones because it's squiggly. So I could have went a little extra slow. Let's do 6.4 again. We'll do it at the same speed that I've been doing all these other ones. This one here, by the way, this one isn't bad. This was, I think it was 4 volts. 4.5 or something like that. But when I went slow, it came out great. But it wasn't as, this one isn't as dark. Let's do another line. I'm gonna do a line 6.4 volts at the same speed I've been doing these lines at. See what we got. I think I went a little bit slower by accident. But I think that's just me adapting. I think naturally, despite my experimentations, I think naturally I'm just starting to grab it without thinking too much into it. It's that instinct, you know? This line looks great. This line looks good. Check that out. Look how nice that line is compared to the rest of them. Not compared to you professionals out there. Look at that last line on the right. That is one badass line. Look at that. 6.4, that's my sweet spot. I found it. And it's also pressure. Look at that. You can see the needles. Look at the line to the left of it. The faded line. Look at all the little punctures. You see them? Look at that. And then look at this one. Look how filled that is. That's nice. That line came out really nice. Let's get a zoom in on that. Wow, we're pretty zoomed in. I'm like looking at the cells on the skin. Look at that. Not bad, right? Let's do the koi fish now. Oh no. This thing's been filming upright the whole time. That's fine, I'm not starting over. You know what? I'm doing another video. I'm gonna end this so I can flip this camera. It's because of the angle didn't set on it. So this one can be adjusting the gun and doing lines, checking out the voltages, checking out speed and consistency. Let's label this video that, because this is already 45 minutes. Let's do that. And then the third video is just gonna cut to the chase on the koi fish. So stick around, got the third video coming up next, part 3. Doesn't cost anything to like and subscribe, you know, leave comments, help this channel accelerate so I can keep bringing you guys cool things like this. All right, stick around, see you in the next one.